When we take care of the disturbing or unwanted emotional charge, then we're free to act from a good place rather than react.
Yes.
So it's not just about, just sit and meditate and kumbaya. No, it's like take care of it and then take action if there's action to take. But if you don't do it in that order, if you don't make friends with and metabolize the charged emotion in you, then you're going to act from it.
Yes.
And that doesn't
100%.
produce good. That produces bad results. And that means that wisdom is absent in that moment. You can't be in reaction and wisdom at the same time. They don't go together.
Right. Welcome to the Peaceful Papa Podcast. I'm Ravi, your host. Together, we'll slow down, breathe, and explore grounded fatherhood with greater peace and presence. I'm grateful you're here. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Peaceful Papa Podcast.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a yes to showing up fully for yourself, for me, for our audience. Listeners, thank you for being here. I'm grateful to have in front of me Reuvain Bacal, who has become a dear friend and still getting to know him on many levels. But also, what struck me about meeting you the first time is that I had heard your name a dozen times before actually meeting you in person. There was like this, you were this anchor in our community here in Boulder, Colorado, for being a steward of men and really helping others find lightness through tough times. But before we dive in to our episode today, I really want to get to know you a bit more. I've read your website, I've read the internet, but I really want to check in with what's alive for Reuvain in this moment. And I have a simple framework that I want to take you through. So thank you for playing.
Yeah, I like playing.
Cool. So this one is a little psychosomatic. We'll have a chance to honor our psychology, but also use our body in subtle ways. This exercise is called Head, Heart, Hara. Okay? And we'll take a journey from head all the way down. So we're going to start with our head. And as you speak from your head, you'll have about 30 seconds. If you start to go on beyond that, I'll cut you off. But for the beginning, you're going to place your hand on your forehead. Okay, just as a somatic reminder that, oh yeah, I'm speaking from this place. And I want you to imagine.
And keep it there.
We're going to keep it there for about 30 seconds as you speak. Welcome to close down the eyes if needed. And while you're here, I want you to imagine that you're at a networking event. You're in this very surface level. I'm going to introduce myself to 15, 20 people the same way. But what lives up here is just the facts about Reuvain. Maybe where you're from, what you studied, what you do for work, family. But if you start to go into like, yeah, I'm feeling this way, or, oh yeah, I want this, I'm going to call you out. Okay, so we're sticking with the facts, but give us a preview of who you are. Okay, speaking from this place. And when you're ready, you may begin.
Yeah, my name's Reuvain Bacal. I'm from Minneapolis, and I've lived in Madison, Wisconsin, Jerusalem, Israel, and Boulder. And I'm trained as a psychotherapist at Neuropa University, and I've integrated evolutionary coaching with that. I have a very somatic approach and a very cognitive dimension. That's a powerful cognitive dimension. I've been doing this work for 25 years. And I have an 18-year-old daughter. I live in Boulder. And I'm about to turn 57 years old next month.
And pause. Happy early birthday.
Thanks.
I'm tempted to go into some of the things you shared, but I'm going to hold back for now. But right away, like, wow, there's some synchronicities between where places we've lived and where we're from that I had no idea. So love that.
Cool.
So honoring the head, we're going to travel downward, okay, downward towards the heart space. Okay, so we'll go hand on the heart, and here is where our feelings live, okay, our emotional self. And my invitation to you as you speak from the heart, really tune into like what's alive either in this moment or, in the last day or two, something really fresh, really relevant for your emotional body. Okay, and you can even, an easy way to speak from this place is I feel, and then continue filling the blank. I feel grateful. I feel excited. And you can give a little detail as to what's behind the feeling. And when you're ready, you may begin.
I feel inspired about the work that I'm doing and new iterations that I want to offer into the world. I feel grateful for the life that I have, my home, the life and health of my daughter, my beautiful community of friends and loved ones, my health, the teachings and wisdom I've been able to garner through challenge and good fortune. And and grateful to be here.
Beautiful.
And interested and curious.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So we've honored our head, we've honored our heart, and next up we're going to drop down into the hara. Okay, the hara about 2 fingers below the navel, really that energetic center where your vitality lives, your gut sense lives, the connecting point between your intuition of the belly and intuition of the third eye. And from this place, we get to speak from our core. What's really, if you really knew Reuvain in this moment, like, what do you want? And that's a nice prompt. I want, and fill in the blank. And give yourself 30 seconds to really speak from what you want to call in.
I want to be profoundly useful and helpful. I want people to be free of suffering and to help with that. I want the natural world and systems to thrive. I want to spend a lot of time in them. I want to support loving, growthful, evolutionary relationships. I want thriving, multi-generational, inspiring, wakeful community around me and everyone.
Let's take a breath for that. Beautiful vision. And I know you've had a lot of those things in different seasons of life. But I want to speak to, and what I think we'll really dive into today for our audience and for the good of humanity, is this idea of suffering. And so I'm curious if you could start with, for the listener who is finding how they relate to the word suffering. Suffering's a pretty loaded word. And so I'm curious what your definition of suffering might sound like.
Great. Yeah. For anyone for whom suffering sounds like off-putting or I don't have that, that's not me, or something like that, it's really just talking about any degree of dis-ease, feeling not whole, somehow I'm not okay, something's missing, dissatisfaction, and then the more obvious or gross level suffering of I'm just really suffering, I'm really feeling horrible, and I'm so not okay with what's happening. And resisting reality, thinking that it's wrong and bad and should be different. That's a very simple way to talk about suffering, is resistance to what is.
Yeah.
That's the most basic level, I would say. It's just any state of resistance to what is. And most people probably aren't even aware the extent to which they're in resistance to what is. It's just like, no, it shouldn't be going like that. I want it to be different, like that. And then there's the physical, and there's a physical expression of that, which is, as I understand and experience it, tension, stress, anxiety. That always goes with suffering and resistance.
Yeah. So tension, stress, anxiety, resistance to what is. In your humble and professional opinion, would you say that collectively we are in a state of suffering?
Well, as in my understanding, just about everybody suffers. Just about everybody, except for the few awakened beings on the planet.
You think they're exempt from suffering, or just have tools and awareness to quickly transmute it?
I think anybody who lives in a state of not perceiving separateness doesn't suffer. If you don't perceive separateness, there's no suffering, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. And so I could also say, well, is it too early to talk about how do you get out of suffering or liberation from suffering?
We'll head there.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but let's take it just in a pace that helps the listener too, to like start to maybe feel into the subtle ways that we as individuals are suffering. Even from my personal experience, as much as I like to think I'm a fully awakened being, I suffered this morning. And
I think you're well on your way. And if you suffer, then you're still
I suffered
on the path.
I did.
Yeah.
And I want to make it too, for the listeners who are dads, heads of their family, or aspiring dads, I think where we're headed of how to alleviate suffering is such an important piece to really, really listen in on. Because you've told me you're a man of tools. He's going to share some really compelling practical tools today. But without tools, suffering can be exacerbated and take so much more time than maybe it needs to.
Oh, absolutely. It's a big distraction from just being present.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to mobilize around how can I organize all the circumstances and events of my life in order to feel okay, rather than just cutting to the chase and not needing to do that, which we'll get to later. But so there seems to be a perception, an unconscious assumption that if I just avoid, push down, resist this unwanted disturbance, that it's going to be better for me, and I'm going to feel better and suffer less. And in fact, that doesn't work, because anything you push down comes up. It's like whack-a-mole. And not only that, but when we say no to something, so an experience comes in that I don't want and I don't like, and then my resistance to it, you could say, closes the doors of my being, or of my heart, and my body. It shuts around that to try to wall it off and like keep it away from my experience. But where it's shut is inside. I've just now taken the thing that I most don't ever want to feel again in my whole life, and I've locked it inside of myself, where I then carry it around for the rest of my life, unless and until I start making friends with it. And that's where we get to the what to do about it. But
I think the perception of, as suffering comes in, if I don't have the capacity to receive that suffering, if I don't have the tools to work through it, or just don't have the awareness that I am suffering, I'll unconsciously avoid it.
Yeah, and in order to avoid and maintain avoidance of what's already in there, we have to come up with strategies. And we learned our main strategies likely in childhood.
Yeah.
Uh, like repression, suppression, defense, deny, whatever we learned how to do,
Yeah.
or get really achieving and performing in order to cope, and get positive kudos and get love, and not try to stay away from the quote bad feelings, or to be really helpful, or to just numb out and dissociate, or there's all the different, or to be perfect.
And I want to pause you because right away, just as you're listing this, there's a dozen and there's 1,001 ways in which we will avoid suffering. Right. And that can be the trajectory for like our whole lives until we hit this wall of like, oh my God, I've been operating under this system within myself to receive love and acceptance. But ultimately also I'm really avoiding feeling these intense things, or avoiding the reality of my relationships with my own suffering.
That's all that's going on. Really.
So as you take us into a process where we can start to recognize and move through suffering, I'd love for you to also take us through a time in your life where, and make it, if you can, make it concrete, like draw this down into brass tacks for the listeners.
You got it. And it's going to be very pertinent to fathers. So yeah. Before I do so, I'd like to also just name that part of, I wanted to say more about the coping in order to maintain the avoidance of the disturbance that we locked down. And that requires doing behaviors that make more troubles for us.
Yeah.
Obvious ones are drugs, alcohol, screen addiction, pornography, basically things that help us dissociate, help us not feel or numb the things we have locked inside through resistance that we are feeling because we haven't been willing to say yes to it and just relax and let go and feel and let it move on. We haven't been willing to do that. So I have to have the stuff, or smoke the cigarette, or have the sex, or constantly get new women, or whatever it is, or workaholism, and to avoid feeling what I'm feeling. And the whole culture is supportive of distraction and noise to keep us away from feeling what we feel and who we are. I'm not saying that it's a conspiracy. It's just like that.
Yeah. Well, to your language, it just is. If I was
just is.
There's no resistance to the fact that we all are suffering and we're reaching for things outside of ourselves to avoid that truth.
Just Band-Aids over something that needs more than a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your question was, about how I've experienced suffering.
Yeah.
And the kind of suffering, I experience suffering all the time on the small s suffering that I described earlier, as we all do. It's like resistant. I just don't want it to be like that. Or this movie isn't to my liking. And it's like, no, I don't, it shouldn't be like that.
Have you ever stopped a movie or like just gotten up, been like, I'm done. I'm too much energy just being here.
Yeah. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the big S suffering, big S
suffering.
Yeah. So that pertains to family life, parenting, being a dad. So my daughter had developed some real personality challenges and behavioral challenges that were really disturbing to me and to my then wife, and we're very concerned for her mental health.
Yeah.
And, things that, I'll just say mental health kind of stuff and behaviors.
And about how old is your daughter, just to give me a sense of
now she's 18, development. But it was clear from the beginning that there's some things that were different about her. And, and then when she came into like early sort of pre-adolescence and then adolescence and then teenagerhood, it just kept ramping up. The the expression
Mm-hmm.
of her challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And my then wife wasn't on board, in my perception, to really look at these things and address them in the way that seemed to be intelligent or helpful or wise, or the way that I thought they needed to be addressed. And then pretty soon I realized, like, well, we're so on different pages that ultimately we went different ways and ended our marriage. But this started an odyssey of my daughter showing up really, really different than how I was attached to her being.
And pause there.
Yes.
So it sounds like your daughter might be suffering just because of the mental things and personality disorders that are arising in her own being. But maybe she's not even suffering because she's not necessarily aware of them.
She seemed like she was suffering.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're suffering because you have almost an expectation of how your daughter could or should be, and
Yes.
the reality is not matching up to that.
No, not at all. I had a lot of attachment. That's the key thing.
Totally.
Of course, we want things to, go in a beautiful, light-filled way or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it's the attachment that is the problem.
Yeah.
Because we have our preferences. I have my preferences of how things will go, of how my daughter will be. But life doesn't conform to our preferences. That's not what it's here for.
Yeah.
That's not the setup here. Life is not here to conform to our preferences. Life is here to be life. And then we have our preferences, and when it doesn't go my way, and I'm attached to it going my way, which almost everybody is to a great extent, then we suffer. Yeah. That's why almost everybody suffers, is because we want it to go away and we're attached to that. Yeah. And life won't do that lots of the time. Sometimes those two happen to be aligned, and lots of times they're not, or they're aligned for a while, but then it changes because life is always changing. Yeah. And the forms are always falling away and new forms arising.
A breath for life. And also, if you'll take us a little deeper into your unique experience.
Yeah.
You're suffering, it sounds like, I'm going to assume, for years. There's years of this going on.
Yeah.
What are you leaning into your suffering and working through it at this time, or are you reaching for things outside of yourself? And what did that look like for you? Where did it start to get?
It was a mix of various strategies, various things that I was up to. One was getting a lot of support, whether that was talking to friends, men's group a lot, therapy sometimes, meditation,
these are like higher self things. To me, these are like, okay, if I'm in my highest self, I'm getting involved in men's work, I'm seeing a therapist, I'm meditating, I'm exercising, I'm in nature.
Yeah.
Okay, now what are the three that...
Another high-level tool that I was using, her higher self tool, was one of the methods that I'll be sharing shortly, which is to be tracking the disturbing emotions in my body and then to metabolize those emotions. There's a method missing to that, which is a cognitive that I wasn't fully applying at the time. So I'll get to that later. But these methods weren't. Oh, another method I was using is I was taking this all as part of my path and stuff, which, I mean, everything that happens is part of our path by the fact that it happened or it's happening. And so it's on our path, but where we go from there, the next moment or the next day or year or whatever is up to us. But right. So I was getting some relief from those things, and then, but but not enough. And then lower level methods where I was getting my daughter help with things.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's not exactly lower level. That's like just meeting the logistical plane of reality.
Yeah.
And then the things I was doing that weren't in the higher level is like just zoning out with screens and engaging with certain spiritual practices in a way that was like to try to get healing that actually needed to come from that wasn't, it was like I had an immature relationship with it where I was trying to get it to heal me rather than me do what I need to do with the help of medicines. It's a subtle distinction, but it was like it was like an undeveloped or a younger approach. It's like heal me, rather than like, okay, show me the hard work I need to do, and then I'm going to go do it.
Right.
Which I did some of, but there was some bypassing, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to go. It sounds like maybe plant medicines. Don't have to go into
a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, for sure. But what I hear is that there are tools that are more aligned with the higher consciousness. There's others that you were reaching for immaturely that maybe weren't going to actually move the needle in a meaningful way.
And then there were worldly practical tools.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, we'll get what kind of therapies and, just to address the situation on the practical level. Okay, so what I'm teeing up is that's all the context. And then things got to a crescendo, and I'll be more specific. So then my daughter had a pretty decent junior high time. We got her into like a really supportive small private school environment, and things went pretty well. And then she went off to high school in a big public high school where she totally didn't have the support she needed, and her mental health situation, things happened where got really exacerbated, like medication was off and different things. And my ex and I got divorced right before that time. So there was a lot happening, and my daughter's coming into full blown like teenager womanhood at like 15 or whatever, where just things get intense for people.
Wow.
And so she ended up in the hospital twice within a month and a half period, from substance related mixed with some off mental health things. And it was really scary. Yeah. So fear inside of me was just building and building. I got into like just like a fear zit or something.
Wow.
And at the same time, or right around that time or slightly before that time, I had, just split from my wife, and my daughter was more joined with my ex. And I had to sell and leave my land, my homestead that was like my oasis, and that was one of my main coping methods, was to just like farm, like garden, tend animals, prune trees, plant trees, it was so life affirming and nourishing and beautiful, and bring lots of community in, and men's groups and year-long men's tribes and medicine ceremonies that my teacher was leading with, like there'd be hundreds of people in a weekend coming in and out of our land, and it was just like this mecca of community and deep work. And so that was really keeping.
And you had to get rid of, you had to part ways with all of that.
I had to part ways with all of that, and then just be this alone bachelor living in an apartment or
Humbling.
some rented space that, by myself. It was like it felt like taking a thriving tree or plant and just ripping it out of the soil and throwing it on the sidewalk or something. That's
really it sounds like uprooted.
Very uprooted.
Yeah.
All my reference points of identity, my living context, how I was doing my lifestyle, like who I was around, everything.
And you had to do this, or was this a choice?
Yeah, financially. No, I didn't have to get divorced, but to follow to live in integrity with myself, I had to. And because we were just going and growing in different directions. And so I felt like, to be an integrist with myself, I had to do that. And then I had to, in order to divorce, we had to sell the land, because that's all of our resources were in that property. Every dollar I made got invested. Okay, now let's renovate this building, or let's, do this thing. Let's get a fence now. And it was just like that. Yes. So it was a full scale, just for my daughter and for myself.
Yeah. We feel it. I feel the many layers, that the tumult that was totally shook you to your core.
And then when I consulted astrology, I don't know, not everybody needs to, recognize that as a legitimate system or whatever, but I was told, oh yeah, you're in a 5-year, like, this is the hardest time of your life. These next, like, at that point, next 4 years. Wow. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
divinely timed.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
And so as I entered this dark night of the soul that was really focused on, now I'm bringing the conversation back to where we started. With the dark night of the soul was really focused on the pain and suffering that I was in, that I wasn't willing or able at that time to just relax and accept. That was happening with my daughter. My relationship with my daughter, and what my mind was creating. This is what happens when we're in like a trauma response. Then the mind starts creating all these stressful beliefs. Yeah. And many of them, or most of them, are future oriented. Like, this is gonna happen to her. She's either gonna end up in a mental hospital, prison, living on the street, or dying. That seemed,
and that's
really
that
true.
As a recurring thought loop.
Oh yeah,
that consumes a lot of headspace.
Oh, I was so consumed.
Yeah,
I was really consumed.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, somebody like me who is so resourced, had so many tools, had so much community, therapies, everything. Like, I would get to a better place, and then I would just go down again. It was like I was in a obsessive compulsive nightmare about my daughter. And then it started bleeding over to being also about my life. Like, I fucked it up. I did it wrong. I somehow fucked up parenting. It became like this whole thing that had a life to itself. Yeah. Life of its own. Yeah. Wow. That was about basically just like living in a nightmare. And the only place that it was actually a nightmare was in my head. And so the only place that a real solution was going to come from was inside of my awareness, perception, and beliefs. I tried to get outer circumstances to be how I wanted them to be, with limited success. And at the end of the day, none of that really was going to do it for me. It had to be that I changed the way I perceive, believe, think.
Perceive, believe, think. So for the listener, I mean, even as you share your story, I'm going through the timeline of my life, revisiting a few dark nights of the soul where everything externally is crumbling. Internally, I'm a hot mess. because there's all these self-judgments, these expectations, the regrets that start to build. Oh, I could have done this differently. So what do we do with this?
Yeah. Okay.
Doctor, we need the medicine.
Okay. This is the medicine. I'm going to take a couple breaths first.
Please. I'll join you.
I notice when I get excited about talking about what I'm inspired about, which is this stuff, I get fast and louder. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably going to keep happening. Just my enthusiasm. Okay. I think we first need to talk about, or just reference back for a moment about where suffering comes from. Mm-hmm. We talked about it, but just reference back that it simply comes from resisting what is. And in my story, I was clearly resisting what is about my daughter, how my daughter is, her life experience, her events. I was resisting the stressful beliefs about the future for her. So I was creating a nightmare, and then I was resisting the nightmare. I was resisting how my life was unfolding, as if it was wrong and I was wrong and not okay and should be different and bad. And so just fraught with, it was fraught with resistance to all of that. Okay. So the tools are, I like to start with the somatic tool first. Mm-hmm. There's one somatic tool and two cognitive tools, which have some somatic aspect, but are primarily cognitive. All right. The somatic tool is this, and this is one of the most important tools in my mind that anybody can have as a person. I call it the method, and it's the method for metabolizing disturbing emotions. Or you could just say handling feelings in your body that are upsetting and stressful, or upsetting, disturbing feelings. Okay, the method is this. It's 3 questions. No, it's 3 steps, I should say. Mm-hmm. Step 1, what am I feeling? And to answer that question, you simply check the body. You can't really answer that question from your thoughts or your mind. What am I feeling? Let me check. The feelings are broadcast as sensation in the body. Mm-hmm. This is a broadcasting system for feelings, among other things. What am I feeling? Let me check. So then I scan around in here. Oh, I notice my chest is kind of tight. And then step 2, as part of step 1 is you label it with an emotion label. So what am I feeling? Check your body, label it. Oh, I notice my breathing is shallow, my chest is tight. What is that? Oh, it's anxiety. I feel anxious. Okay, you've done step 1. Step 2. You ask yourself, does it kill me in this moment to feel this feeling?
Does it kill me in this moment to feel the feeling that I
kill
identified?
Or damage me in this moment?
Does it harm me? Yeah.
Yeah. I usually use the words kill or damage.
That's
because
extreme.
Harm, the mind could get in there and make up stories. Yeah.
Kill is like the extreme.
Yeah.
Like harm beyond belief would be I'm dead.
In other words.
And the body might feel like, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so you have to check the body for the answer.
Does it kill me to feel this?
Right now.
Yeah.
It's checking the present moment for the answer. That's all. Mm-hmm. Don't get in your head about it. That's not how we answer this question. Mm-hmm. In other words, am I surviving from this moment to the next moment while I'm feeling this feeling? That's the inquiry. Mm. So let me check. And it's like, well, my body's intact. I'm still sitting here in the studio. I'm talking to Ravi. Apparently, I'm not dead from feeling this feeling. Okay, that's step 2. Step 3. Since it doesn't kill me, I give myself permission to feel as anxious as I feel right now. So you're giving conscious permission to what is happening in the body. Conscious permission.
I found this on the web.
Oh.
Conscious permission.
Siri just started talking to us.
Brilliant. Because I was listening.
So I give myself conscious permission for what's already happening, which is I feel anxious. Because without doing that, I'm in a subconscious state of resistance, even if I'm not even aware of it. I'm resisting it.
Yeah.
And that is happening for people many times a day.
Can I bring in a really personal
Please.
example from this morning?
Yes.
I used the method. I was so angry. It was first frustrated. Frustrated was this tension in my shoulders, this tightness in my stomach. The frustration, I was having these really uncomfortable visions of breaking things or hurting someone that I love. In real time, I'm witnessing them. And I allowed myself internally, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm angry now. Does it kill me to feel this? No, I'm holding on to this, but I'm not being kind to my wife. I'm keeping myself intentionally at a distance from my 2.5-year-old because of what I could feel building up in my body. And then step 3, since it doesn't kill me, I give myself full permission to feel this. And I went into my garage where I just hung up a punching bag and I gave myself 2 minutes to just release because it was so palpable. I could just feel it in my body and I wanted it out.
And it can be really helpful, I find, when like hitting the punching bag or something, to bring the words to it. It's like there's some primal words in there, like fuck you, stop, no, whatever. And then just let that's not in itself necessarily healing, but in my opinion, but it's like name it to tame it and move the energy. And so it's not, that energy is not stuck in your body anymore. So that's super helpful.
I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back too, and to you for transmitting the method my way this morning when I needed it most. Because then I dissolved that tension. And I got to repair and reconnect with the environment that I was struggling to be in. So that I could give my wife the hug that she needed and help get the things into the car for them.
That's it. So when we take care of the disturbing or unwanted emotional charge, then we're free to act from a good place rather than react. So it's not just about, just sit and meditate and kumbaya. No, it's like take care of it and then take action if there's action to take. But if you don't do it in that order, if you don't make friends with and metabolize the charged emotion in you, then you're going to act from it. And that doesn't 100%. Produce good. That produces bad results. And that means that wisdom is absent in that moment. You can't be in reaction and wisdom at the same time. They don't go together. So a person would have done something in that moment that would have,
I would have broken something would have been my first reaction. I would have pushed away my family, like, get out of the house. I'm angry and I'm not taking care of that. So you need to leave. And had I not gone and I ended up doing some push-ups, some punching bag just to release the energy. Had I not done that, then I would have gone and eaten some sugary, chocolatey thing before at 9 a.m. I would have reached for porn.
Exactly.
I would
all
have
that stuff.
Done something that wasn't going to serve.
That's just, that exemplifies how and why we go to numbing and dissociative, avoidant behaviors instead of when we're not taking care of the thing that we're suffering about,
Mm-hmm.
the emotional charge of the suffering in the body, in the mind.
Talk me through the half-life of the method. So imagine, again, my case this morning, I had an emotion, a feeling, sensation. I worked through it within a relatively short amount of time. What do I do if I have this feeling that has become maybe a chronic sensation in my body, or a perceived chronic sensation, or I've been carrying this thing for months, or let's say a year?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, super well done. Just your instincts and all of your training and everything that has gone into you that you were able to do that. That's just badass. So awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So here's the thing, is that this method alone is insufficient.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because there's something upstream
Mm-hmm.
from our emotional reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And what's upstream from our emotional reaction is our perception
Mm-hmm.
and our beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to address perception and belief in order to prevent the chronic, living in this reactivation all the time.
Yeah.
Because if my beliefs continue to, or my perception continues to be, I'm going to make this up, and it's not about you. My perception continues to be, people should leave me alone. I don't deserve this. My wife's a bitch. My life should be different. I'm a worthless person. I'm no good. I should be different, or whatever.
Yeah.
If my mind continues to believe that, it's going to continue every time I believe that thought, or have that perception, or that this thing that's happening is terrible and horrible and shouldn't be happening.
Labels that we're slapping on, that's perceived.
Even if it's not a label, just the perception. If I'm seeing that the thing is more bad than good, is more drawbacks than benefits,
almost like pessimistic,
or just that it's this on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
If I see that this thing that's happening is really bad, meaning more bad than good, then I'm going to suffer. Or if I have stressful limiting beliefs that she's a bitch, this shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't have lost my job. The kids should shut up.
Yeah.
If I'm believing those thoughts also, stressful beliefs, limiting beliefs, then I am going to be generating more and more and maintaining a chronic state of dis-ease, suffering, tension, stress, anxiety, upset.
Sure.
So we know we have to go also to the mind. So that's where the next method comes in, to address the half-life of the first thing. Okay, so stressful limiting beliefs. I just use Byron Katie's method. She calls it the work.
Yep.
So we've got the method and the work. The work is Byron Katie. The method comes from applied Buddhist psychology. Okay. The method comes from a woman named Byron Katie.
Work,
You can check her out online. It's basically, sometimes people call it the 4 questions. And so you identify the main stressful limiting beliefs that are stressful to you. Like, the family shouldn't be in the house right now. That's a belief. So let's say that is like the big belief that the person's having. I guess you
can use me as an example.
Somebody like you, or somebody in your situation might have in that situation. They shouldn't be here. I should be left in peace. Let's say I should be left in peace. Any parent has probably believed that or felt that. I sure did. And okay, so then you write it down. I should be left in peace. And then you run it through the 4 questions. Question 1, is it true? Is it true that I should be left in peace? And you might say, yeah, I work really hard and they're screaming all the time. And yeah, I should be left in peace. I produce so much for this family. Question 2. Can you absolutely know that it's true? You could say, like, with total omniscience, like with the omniscience of God, can I absolutely know that it's true that I should be left in peace? Well, it seems like I should, but I can't. Your answer might be, I can't absolutely know for sure with total.
It's my very personal opinion that I should be.
Yeah, I can't absolutely know, perhaps, is your answer. Or maybe you'll say, yeah, no, it's absolutely true. But regardless, but for me, or most kind of people in their right minds would recognize, I can't for sure absolutely know that it's true that I should be left in peace. I just think I should, and I want to be. Okay. Question 3. When I believe this thought, I should be left in peace, what happens? What are the impacts when I believe this thought? And I'm just obviously going to just make this up as an example. When I believe the thought I should be left in peace, I get enraged with my family when they're making a lot of noise and chaos. And I just want to do all the things, push my wife away,
burn it all down,
get out, divorce, get out of this situation, yell at them, go look at porn, eat chocolate. I get so enraged. I'm so angry. I punish my wife. I yell at my kids. I feel a lot of tension inside and a lot of just heat, and I'm not present. I'm preoccupied, and
this requires some brutal honesty too, right? It's like,
yeah,
you have to have really some presence
and awareness.
You
have to just check, like, what actually happens when I believe this thought. A lot happens. You can see a lot happens. And you can recognize, perhaps, hopefully, that it's not, the cause of the suffering here is not that the family is making chaos and noise. The cause of the suffering is you believing the thought that reality should be different. They should be different. The situation should be different. That's what makes me suffer, not the fact that kids are yelling and wife is still in the house or whatever. Okay. That's a hard one for most people to get, because the way we're constructed, for whatever reason, it appears that events cause our suffering, when in fact they don't. Events are just events. Things are just doing what they're doing. Life is just doing what it's doing. People are just doing what they're doing. I have my preferences and my reactions to that based on all my lived experiences, plus based on whatever is wired in, just being a human being makes me react to things that don't feel good in one kind of way and react in a different kind of way to things that feel good. All right. Question 4. If I never again believed this thought that I should be left in peace, if I never again believed this thought, what would I be? If I never again believed the thought that I should be left in peace, I wouldn't be angry. I'd be just be at peace. I'd be in equanimity. I wouldn't be upset with my family. If I didn't believe that I should be left in peace, I would recognize that, there's chaos and that's just what's happening. And I don't deserve, or I shouldn't, it's not that reality is that this shouldn't be happening. It'd be like, it's just happening. I would relate to it more skillfully. I would be in my frontal cortex making good decisions about, what does the situation need? Let me address the situation skillfully. Let's bring something good to this. Be thoughtful, and bring wisdom rather than a reaction, because I think it shouldn't be happening. How else would I be if I never again believed the thought that I should be left in peace? I wouldn't be resentful towards my wife and family. I wouldn't be so self-righteous about my anger. If I never again believed that I
But
should be
I'm already feeling
Yeah.
a felt sense of relief.
Uh-huh.
And my curiosity is that the intention? Is that if you make it to step 4,
Yeah.
is that you've kind of dissolved the charge of the original?
The intention is, on the high level, is to free you from suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that that happens is by dissolving your resistance to what's happening through inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
This is using inquiry to get in reality and dissolve your resistance to reality, which leaves you not suffering and instead in equanimity.
Phew.
Yeah.
Does a lot.
There's one more step, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is the turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
The turnaround. So you take your original belief statement and you turn it around. You either negate it, or in this case, it already has a negation, so you remove the negation. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't have a negation yet. Okay, your belief was, I should be left in peace.
Yep.
So it becomes, I shouldn't be left in peace.
Mm.
Huh. And that might sound very strange,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just the formula. You just take it and you negate it.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then you try it on and you find evidence. You look for evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't, and you write it down. I shouldn't be left in peace. Well, how is that true? Or I shouldn't be left in peace because I shouldn't be left in peace because I chose to have a family. And everybody knows that a family is not always a consistently peaceful environment, that it's chaotic when you have little kids. I shouldn't be left in peace because I'm not. It's just not what's happening.
Yeah.
I can either argue with reality and suffer, or I can accept reality and be at peace and calm and relaxed. Yeah. I shouldn't be left in peace because, this is really helping me, or an invitation to grow and develop my capacity to tolerate disturbance or discomfort or chaos. So it's actually for me, not against me.
Mm-hmm.
It's here for me to grow rather than an obstacle to my life.
Is that the goal of this 5th step, is to really shift into that? Ooh,
It's
this
just
is
to
happening
further-
for me.
It's just to further help you recognize that, or melt resistance. When you recognize that, I'll get there in a second. You'll see what we recognize. So, or how we do it. How else is it true? And you keep finding, you find the most potent supports for this new notion. And it's a lot of times in the context of your growth.
Yeah.
Life gives us life. I think life is here to wake us up and help us learn what we're here to learn and become aware of what we're here to be aware of. And so challenges are our best ally in
Resistance is where we get strong.
Yeah,
you want to go to the gym, you train resistance.
You could say in this context, we could say challenge. It gives us something to work with and build our strengths.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Then you simply just ask yourself, well, given the inquiry I've had with this, could it be equally true, or even more true, that I shouldn't be left in peace? You're examining again your turnaround statement and just seeing could the turnaround be equally true or even more true. So let me see. Could it be equally true that I shouldn't be left in peace than that I should be left in peace? It seems at least equally true that I shouldn't be left in peace because A, I'm not, B, I knew what I was getting into when I signed up for having kids. I'm the one who chose to make love to my wife and have a child. I chose to do that. They're here now. And there's natural chaos and lack of peaceful environment sometimes. And so I shouldn't be left in peace all the time. And this is really pushing me to grow and develop and expand my capacities to tolerate disturbance. And that makes me a better, stronger, more capable person. So, yeah. So therefore, wow, it's at least equally true that I shouldn't be left in peace.
Beyond the mental gymnastics, you're clearly a skilled worker of the work. I'm even as you work the layers of this, I'm feeling a felt sense of gratitude for that original infraction of I'm pissed off, I should be left in peace, because of the layers of what it's giving me if I'm willing to look at it.
That's right. You're going to grow.
So I'm curious, there's, 5 or 6 steps. Each has some nuance or layer to it. Is this something, the work by Byron Katie, do I do this with a skilled practitioner? Do I learn the work and then I have it as a tool that I can do myself? What do you recommend?
I recommend that you at least get facilitated by a skilled practitioner, whether that's a friend or a paid practitioner, once or twice.
Yeah.
Because it's just helpful in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There are some people out, but try it on your own and just see how far you can get. Some people are going to have complete and total success with this on their own.
Yeah.
Other people are going to need somebody to facilitate them. I want to just add one more instruction, which is, I said that it's a cognitive approach, or tool, but it's meant, as I understand it, it's meant to be also an intuitive and felt sense experience. So after you do each piece, like, just take a breath and just let that settle in. You're creating likely new neural pathways.
Yeah.
Or a new neural pathway.
Sure.
Of like seeing something in a completely different way than I had been seeing it.
Yeah.
And like, give yourself a moment for your brain and your neural pathways to recalibrate and to let this groove start. Especially in the last, with question 3, 4 and the turnaround.
Yeah.
Just like take it in of like, wow, look what happens when I believe this thought that I should be left in peace. I get so upset and I get so dysfunctional and I really mess up my family environment. It's like, damn, I'm doing that just because I'm believing this thing. Just let that sink in. And same with the question 4, what would I be if I never again believed this thought? Oh, I'd be relaxed and at peace, and I'd be a lot nicer to be around. And nicer with my family. Oh, wow! I could have that. If I just stop believing this thought, which I don't even for sure know is true.
Yeah,
and just feeling that. Okay, ready for the third and last?
Yeah. So we've got the method for the body. We've got the work for the cognitive.
For the stressful limiting beliefs.
Yep,
is the work, and then the third and last method, or tool, as I often call them, or even antidote to suffering, to resistance, to all the dysfunction that comes from suffering and resistance, this is from John Demartini. John Demartini, can look him up online. It's about our perception, which is a little different than our beliefs. A belief is, they shouldn't be doing that. I should be different. This shouldn't be happening. I should get paid more, whatever. Those are beliefs. This approach is, I call it mind balancing, just how I refer to it, balancing your mind. And it's about your perception of what's happening. Okay, so the way I understand it, and the way a lot of teachings throughout history understand it, and the way it was taught to me, is that all of existence, all of the world, all of our experiences exists in a synchronous, meaning happening at the same time, arising at the same time, a synchronous synthesis of complementary opposites. a synchronous synthesis of complementary opposites, that everything exists within that. You could think of the yin-yang symbol.
Mm-hmm.
There's black within the white and white within the
As
black.
above,
and
so below.
As above, so below, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all in balance.
Mm-hmm.
That just intuitively to many of us, that just seems like, oh yeah, that seems right. It does to me anyway. And then, so you start with that. That's the underpinning of
Mm-hmm.
understanding. And then, so we understand from there that anything that happens and everything that happens has equal benefit and drawback,
Mm-hmm.
equal plus and minus, like equal black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And there are stories or parables, if that's what they're called, in many different traditions, Asian traditions and the Jewish tradition, of like the story of, something happens to somebody and it seems terrible, but the wise person or the innocent person says, well, this thing happened. I don't know if it's bad or good, but it happened. And then the next thing goes the opposite direction. Like in one story, a guy buys his son a horse, and everybody's like, oh, it's so great, he's got a horse now. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't know if it's bad or good, but he's got a horse and he gets to ride a horse.
And he falls off the horse.
And then he falls off the horse and he breaks his arm.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh, it's so terrible that you got him a horse, because
Yeah.
now he's got a broken arm. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't know if it's bad or good. It's just, he's got a broken arm now. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
And then the Cossacks come in the Russian army to conscript young men to 20 years in the Tsar's army. But this kid's got a broken arm and they don't take him. And then everybody's like, oh, it's so great that he has a broken arm because they didn't take him. And it's like, oh, I don't know if it's bad or good. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
And you see that it just keeps going. That's how it is there's actually both sides all the time. Yeah. It's just that the human perception is biased. Mm-hmm. We're biased. If it seems like it's for me and comfortable right now, then it's good. And if it seems like it's against me and uncomfortable right now, then it's bad in my perception. But objectively, that's just subjective. Objectively, it's not good or bad. You can see that actually through that story. It's not, there's nothing good or bad.
I tend, sometimes too quickly, but I tend to find the harmonious opposite when something bad happens.
Well, that's because you're a conscious person.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the way I understand it is how conscious a person is reflected by how quickly they equilibrate an experience.
Sure.
Equilibrate meaning balance in their mind.
Yep.
You're a very conscious person in my experience. And so you just naturally do all these things.
Right.
You're tuned in.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's, but yeah, we'll see. There's also this side to it. In popular culture, it's referred to as a silver lining.
Yeah.
It's like everything has a silver lining. It's not just a cute thing that we talk about sometimes of like, well, look at this. There's a silver lining on this one. No, there's a silver lining on everyone. Always.
And how quickly can
you recognize that and balance your mind? That's how conscious of a person you are.
Yeah. Conscious
meaning you are in reality.
Yeah.
You are aware of how reality actually is, and you're there.
This is so real too for a different conflict that I'm having at home, but I won't go into it now, but it's...
Well, also, if we want, in a minute, I could, work with you on that thing, and then to illustrate for the listeners. But anyway,
sure.
Not that you need it, but most people need to hear about how to do that, because most of us aren't doing that naturally.
Yeah.
Okay. So very simply, so DeMartini, he's got 13 or 14, I forget which it is, steps to fully having a breakthrough about absolutely anything. It's a great, brilliant methodology for people who are interested in more complexity or more steps, whatever, check it out. His breakthrough method. I did his breakthrough training, and it was very powerful. And I find that the methodology is very, to me, very tedious and cumbersome. And I like to use just the first couple steps.
Yeah.
And apparently he started with just using the first couple steps, and then he elaborate, in any case, which is just stack benefits to something you see as having more drawbacks, something you see as bad that's really messing you up. Stack benefits. And the corollary to that is stack drawbacks to this thing not being that way. So an example would be, we did an example in the prior thing of you're having chaos in the home with the two little kids and the wife, and you just wanted peace or whatever. Stacking benefits is like, well, what's good about it? What's good about what's happening? What's good about there being chaos in the home? Oh, well, I get to work through this thing, and it's growing my capacities, and it takes me to the punching bag, and then I feel my masculine vital life force more than I did before, and I feel, in my masculine, that feels really good. I get to feel my anger come up and then channel it into something masculine force, and now I'm stronger for it. And it made me do push-ups, and now I'm more, every day I'm so angry that I have to do push-ups and work out every day, and now I'm buff. It's just a simple, mundane, kind of silly example.
Totally.
But it still illustrates the point. And then you look at, well, what would be the drawbacks of not having, if I were left alone, if I were left in peace, what would be the drawbacks of that? Obviously, I'm just making up all these examples. So, drawbacks, if I were left in peace, I would do what I normally do when I'm just alone and left in peace. I'd look at porn, eat sugar. Let's see, waste my time, just listen to dumb podcasts. I don't know, I'm just making up an example. I wouldn't have the opportunity to stretch myself and develop my capacities by having to deal with more and more chaos. People, a parent, a father who has some kids or a bunch of kids or whatever, and spends years cultivating the capacity to be okay with and stay open and be on point in the midst of all the challenges and chaos of family life and even just relationship, becomes a badass if he's doing the work. A badass. And what's gonna throw?
I think that maybe we change the podcast name, the Badass Papa.
The Badass Papa. Yeah. Or Badass Dad. And if it were me, I'd probably call it Badass Dad, but we're different. You're softer than me. A little, I mean, not in a bad way.
I can take
loving, warm heart. And I'm just like, Badass Dad.
That's going to be the headline of the episode.
Badass Dad.
I love it.
Okay, so...
but yeah, like you're saying, you're doing the work, you're balancing your mind, you're looking at both sides of the silver lining. And ultimately, by doing this, you are building a reservoir of capacity for being a badass dad. You can hold a lot more.
Way more and less reactivity, more capacity, more consciousness, being a better role model to your kids, being a better partner, having a better marriage or partnership, whatever. To really put the cherry on this guy, I would love to tell you how I applied this to my situation with my daughter, where I was in the depths of suffering and dark night of the soul.
Listeners, what do we think? Should we go full circle and hear directly from Reuvain how he applied this tool to his own suffering and came out as this grisly, badass father figure?
Do To the extent that I am. I don't know. That's not how I'd refer to myself. But yeah, let's do it. Should we do it?
Those are my words, and I'm sticking
Okay.
to it.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll take your words.
Let's hear it.
I could have just received the compliment. Okay. Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. The big picture is it's all about relaxing and letting go. That's the 20,000 foot view. Relaxing and letting go. But where does relaxing and letting go come from? How do I get to relaxing and letting go? We've got all these nice spiritual concepts in the collective in the West. Just relax, just let go, just be at peace with it. But there's not as much widely disseminated. Exactly how do you do that? Exactly how do you relax with something? Exactly how do you accept something?
I'm excited too, because even just this morning, I was reflecting with my wife. I was like, you know what? I think surrendering and just trusting and letting go, it's a really easy spiritual bypass.
Absolutely.
I'll just surrender. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, which kind of means a lot of the time I'll just disengage.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
Yeah.
And stuff whatever rejection I have of the thing and just numb out or whatever. Okay.
Yep.
So the how is I wrote down what are the specific things about my daughter that I'm perceiving as more bad than good and more drawbacks than benefits. Okay, well, she's depressed. Seems to have this mental health condition. She doesn't, she has like no healthy friends or only one, or she just stays inside all the time, or whatever the things were. And she's not developed in this way, and she doesn't have understanding of these things and whatever. And so I wrote those down and I looked at, okay, what's the ranking of these, of what seems like the most disturbing, the thing that is most should be different in my mind, or most negative or most downsides.
Yeah.
Okay, she's just depressed all the time or whatever, or she's cutting herself or whatever it is. And then I look at, so let's take she has few friends. Okay, or doesn't do sports or doesn't exercise. Let's just take that.
These are strong. I mean, some of these are like judgments, but also some are like objectively.
It has to actually be objective facts.
Yeah.
Or specific behaviors or objective facts. Like, okay, she mostly doesn't exercise in life. That's just a.
Just want to share, and also for the listeners, if even the way that we're listing out these things is causing some charge in you, or you're thinking about your own child or spouse, partner who has, you're like stack ranking this list of, objectively negative qualities.
Or that you think are negative they're actual things that you think are negative.
Yeah. Because I'm going to give you the mic back to help us let go of these, because I'm seeing in myself like, wow, isn't it on me as the dad, as the head of the family, to fix these things? It's on me to fix, all the things we're listing.
Yeah.
And I'm just feeling that come up within me. So I'm eager to hear how to
release. And I'm glad you said that too, because the way the Western mind, and maybe people and maybe humans in general, but even more so in the West, approaches feeling bad, or what we could call suffering, is I'm going to run out, I'm going to change the circumstances. I'm going to manipulate events, I'm going to change the thing. And often we're doing that in a place from anxiety.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck, I got to, blah, blah, blah. And then people can be spending most of their days or much of their time, or just too often, much more than necessary, in living in anxiety. And I think you can see it more in like big, fast urban centers or intense work environments. Is like people are just living from anxiety. Oh, gotta fix, change, fix it, change it, fix it. And then we're also not as effective at a lot of things when we're operating from that place, particularly relational things. And oftentimes other things, relational, creative, intuitive, spirit, I don't know. There's a lot of realms of things that we're not effective at when we're anxiously, fear-basedly trying to change things. Okay. Instead, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. Can you bring me back to what we were...
We're trying to let go. So we've identified it. We've got our list. We've stacked.
Oh, right. Them. Okay. Yeah. So there are things to do, but it's very recommended to start with acceptance and then take action. Accept and then act. And those can happen like in 15 seconds of each other. It's just like if you're in a reactive state, you're in activation, just handle that for a minute. You can use the method that we talked about earlier. What am I feeling? I'm just really worked up. I'm angry. Yeah, I'm really angry and anxious. Even naming it, there's something called name it to tame it.
Yeah.
Even naming it starts taming it.
Yeah.
Usually, not every single time, but it's like, oh, I'm angry and scared. Oh. Okay, does it kill me in this moment to feel angry and scared? Let me check. Nope, I'm still here. Okay. All right, I give myself permission to feel as angry and scared as I feel. It's often good, by the way, to do one emotion at a time. So I'll just do anger.
Sure.
I give myself permission to feel as angry as I feel right now. Yeah, I'm angry. Okay. And then you'll find usually that your body starts relaxing. More relaxation, more calm. On a scientific level, more blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, less to the amygdala, the reptilian brain, the brainstem. Feel your blood pressure lowering. Oh, okay. Well, now what's the thing to do? So now I'm actually thinking more clearly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in reaction. Yeah. I actually have more blood flow in my frontal cortex now, so I can actually think better. This is just medical, factual, biological, physiological reality, psychological, behavioral reality. Oh, my daughter's depressed. What's the best thing to do about that? Well, let me research that on ChatGPT. I'm going to talk to my friend who's a psychiatrist. I'm going to consult whatever. I'm going to talk to my friend, my partner. I'm going to ask my daughter, actually, what do you think would help you feel better? You know, all of these things. Oh, let's take her to a therapist. Let's take her to a herbal medicine person. Let's take her to a holistic
So you're thinking
doctor.
Critically, clearly, taking some aligned action.
And then what seems like the best first step, second step, third step, and then execute your action.
Yeah.
So you take action, but first you calm your nervous system. You metabolize your activation. Yeah. That's just intelligent and wise. Now we have wisdom that can come in.
And you allow, what I love about it too, is you allow for the timing of it to naturally run its course with some concerted action versus this I've got this list. I'm totally in anxiety. I
feel overwhelmed
to the nth degree.
And I can't even decide. I'm so overwhelmed. And anxious. I can't even decide astutely, like, what's the best order of operations here. Yeah. Because the brain isn't working well. One time something happened with somebody. I kind of fucked up and they called me on it, and it was somebody I didn't know well. and they wrote me an email and they're like, dude, what the hell? And I was in such a state of fear and shame that I just like immediately emailed back, and it was full, and it was important, and it was full of just typos and incomplete sentences. And I'm like,
You reactively emailed.
I felt even more shame.
Yeah.
I'm like, now I seem like a total idiot who can't even communicate because I was in a trauma. I was in a fear response.
Totally.
So it's just don't do that.
Yeah.
Fear response, acting from a adrenalized reactive fear response is for when the saber-toothed tiger is chasing you, like just run like hell.
Yeah.
And I could just say something about the brain in it for one moment, which is that the fight, flight, or freeze, that just run response or just reaction and just, oh my God, I got to take my kid to that part of our brain reacts. It's very fast and it's very dumb. It's fast and dumb. The prefrontal cortex is slower and intelligent. It's slow and smart.
Let's pause into that, because I think that's a big part of my why I want to have a podcast that transmits a different frequency. Slow, wise, smart. Because as dads, especially if we're working, we've got multiple kids, there's just a lot happening. I think dad has this stigma of being fast and dumb. Actually, my own father, he's in his 70s now. He doesn't hear very well, and he's very honest about that. But he says, "Yeah, I'm dad. I'm deaf and dumb," and that's the label that he gives himself.
That's intense.
Totally. All that to say, yes, slow down, breathe. Bring blood flow to the prefrontal cortex.
Recognize what you're feeling. That doesn't need to be, it's not an analysis. It's just a noticing.
Yeah.
It's just an acknowledgement. Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Or I'm angry. Or I'm anxious. Or whatever. Or I'm sad. It's not a big deal. Just notice, label it, and then let it be. That's a simple way to say what that method is. Let it be true. I'll often say to people, oh, I'm feeling that. And I'm just like, let it be true that you're feeling that.
What? But
yeah, just let it be true that you feel scared. And then just try on. I give myself permission to feel as scared as I feel. Oh, yeah. And then we find that we get to a place, we come pretty quickly, if we actually do that, to a place of peace. This podcast is about peace. That's a great way to get to peace.
Yeah.
And a great way to get to peace is by Katie's work of like, how am I getting myself to a place of non-peace? I'm believing a scary thought, a stressful thought. That's how I'm getting into non-peace. I'm resisting an emotion. That's how I'm getting to non-peace. And then with our third approach, I'm perceiving that this thing is more bad than good, that it's more downsides than benefits. That's how I'm getting myself out of peace. The way to get yourself into peace is using these practices. And so just that last one again is, so with my daughter was, okay, she's doesn't exercise. What are the benefits? It might seem like there aren't any benefits to that, but a stupid question, like, this is dumb. No, try it on. What are the benefits to my daughter of not exercising? Well, when instead of exercising, she just goes really deeply into her creative life, and she's painting and drawing and reading instead of exercising, and just really going deep into that. And that happens to be like her gift. Oh, she's developing her gifts because actually, I see she's living in her values. Exercise isn't a value of hers right now. Maybe it will be one day, but it's not right now. A value of hers is her her art. Yeah. She's living in her values. And when people live in their values, they feel inspired. They have higher self-esteem. They perform better. And she's cultivating her craft. Oh, okay. And then what other benefits?
So for that one, for the exercise one, can you just kind of release that entirely?
I would come up with more benefits.
Okay.
A bunch of benefits.
Yeah.
The more disturbed you are about the thing, the more benefits you need to come up with to balance your mind, because your mind is so imbalanced. You're so perceiving that this is so terrible, and the opposite is so amazing, that you have to list a lot of benefits to balance your mind, to equilibrate your mind to what's happening. Other benefit, she is spending more time at home where we can keep an eye on her. I don't know, like whatever. Yeah. It's not the easiest example to work with, but everything has its benefits. Or this might sound kind of silly, but like a lot of, there's a proportion of young people who, like teenage boys, who do a lot of crazy shit with their bodies, which is awesome and cool, jumping off cliffs and driving at high speeds and taking a lot of risks, and they get killed or they get seriously injured. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do any of those things, but it is one of the downsides of doing crazy risky shit is some, percentage of the time you get really hurt. Okay. And she doesn't have that because she's not interested in doing that stuff. That's the benefit.
Right?
That's the benefit.
Being in home, working on her craft.
Yeah, that's the benefit.
Yeah, that's not driving off cliffs.
It's one of the benefits.
Yeah,
one of the benefits. And she's reading all the time, and she's learning through reading, and that actually developed her verbal skills a lot. That doesn't mean that, of course, somebody who does sports can't develop verbal skills. They can and do, but it's just like that's what she's focusing on instead of going over there and doing sports or exercise. Okay. Anyway, so the point is, I really went deep with looking at the perfection. I think it was, we can either look at the universe makes mistakes or it doesn't. We can look at the universe makes mistakes or it doesn't. I think, to me, it seems like more true that the universe doesn't make mistakes than that it makes mistakes. And so if it doesn't make mistakes, which is my perception, just intuitively from like a wisdom place, then how is it right what's happening? What's right about it? Mm-hmm. That's a simple way to say it also. Mm-hmm. What's right about this thing that I'm making wrong? Mm-hmm. If nothing else, you could just, from this approach, just take that away. Asking yourself, what's right about this? And then don't react right away. Nothing's right about it. Just actually take a look. Do your due diligence. What is right about this? And I came to find the things that were right about it. And not only that, but looking at, what? She is a separate person. She's came into this world with her own path. And I can look back at my life and my early life, and it was what I would have called not good and shitty. And I know you had a lot of challenge in your early environment.
Absolutely.
We both had a lot of challenge in our early environment. And the way I understand it is that voids create values. The things that appear to be missing creates what we value and care about. Then what we value creates how we act and our life's purpose. And so my guess about you is that you wouldn't be the person that you are, being the force of consciousness and help in the world, if you didn't have all the pain and voids of your childhood, voids of consciousness and voids of being cared for or whatever. I don't think you'd care about what you care about, and you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. I make that up about you. I'm not an expert on you, but I just make that up about you. And it's certainly true for me. And so then I apply that to her also. It's like, oh, well, the pain that she's got, this is creating what she values, and then what she's going to do with her values. That doesn't mean that everybody's story ends well.
Yeah.
We still have choice about what we're going to do with what we're given, right? But it conditions the values that will condition the behavior and condition the offering to the world. As we know, a lot of the people who are the greatest in their fields it was because they were in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And they either wanted to excel and achieve and perform to handle that pain and have everybody love them, or they wrote from their pain, or they became great psychologists from their pain, or they created great art from their pain. And so when I just looked at it that way, that's another tool, that's part of this tool system here. It's like, oh, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have a lot of pain. And that she's on a journey, and this is her path, and look at what it's created. Oh, she's becoming more of a really deep, perceptive person than most of her peers, because that just is something that happens a lot of times when we have pain. And she's looking, and she has to find approaches to handle her suffering. And she's found therapy, and she's developed a great therapeutic alliance with a great therapist, and she's learning wisdom and understanding about life and people that most people her age don't have. And that's all from these things that I thought were so terrible. And so in these ways, I balanced my mind, and I also used the Byron Katie methodology. I looked at my stressful limiting beliefs. She's going to end up in prison, drug, on the street, or dead. And can I absolutely know that that's true? I can't actually. No. And then when I believe that thought, what happens? I feel horrible. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. I want to drink alcohol. I want to distract with porn or screens or whatever. I show up with a lot of anxiety with my daughter, and then she doesn't want me around. And so we see that, wow, that doesn't work. The way I've been doing it doesn't work. Believing this stressful limiting belief doesn't work. There has to be another way that does work. And the way that does work is to use these approaches to metabolize a disturbing emotion in your body, to neutralize the stressful limiting beliefs in your mind, and to balance your mind, equilibrate your mind about imbalanced, biased, negatively biased perceptions, all of which make you suffer and resist reality. I mean, when you're doing it the downside way, makes you suffer and resist reality. When you apply these methods, brings you into a state of calm, peace, relaxation, acceptance, and ease instead of dis-ease.
Let's take a big breath for all of that transmission. That was really strong. I really appreciate that you made it personal about the challenges that you had with your daughter. And may I ask her name, just so I can?
Yeah, her name's Zahara.
Zahara, beautiful.
And she's going off to college next month in New York City, and
the chills with that.
And not jail, not drugs, not
pursuing art.
She's
eventually
pursuing, it's more service oriented.
Okay.
She wants to, her current thing, and this can change, of course, with young people, her current thing is she wants to lead service trips for young women abroad.
Amazing. And you maybe just took her on a trip abroad?
I just took her on a trip abroad. It's one of her highest values, and I like to serve her values and help her live the life that she loves. And so we do things like that together. We just went to Thailand for 3 weeks together. And she's a really special, unique person, and she's awesome.
I imagine coming from you, literally like she was birthed from you, that would be a natural path for her. And certainly without hardship, without a void, the values system wouldn't have emerged so clearly.
Yeah. And these people they often become healers, and people that do, show up in a unique way in the world. If you can work with your pain in a good way, then and transmute it,
Yeah.
then it becomes a great gift and service.
Yeah.
Of course, when we aren't able to do that, then it can go in all those other directions.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Reuvain, this feels like a natural place to wrap it up with a bow, with a cherry on top. I feel like I personally got a lot of wisdom and inspiration from what you shared. There's also within me and perhaps in the listeners a lot of inquiry of like, ooh, there's some areas in life, in my relations, and just the stressful beliefs that are recurring that I could sit with. And I think that's the homework for me, is to just carve out the space to be with some of the more unsettling internal emotions that are there.
You know, that's just really key. I think what you said is we, especially in our world today, the pace and this distraction, is to just stop, slow down, and be and reflect, and take a little time to just look at what's my mind doing, what's my body doing, how am I feeling, and then address that in a conscious way, so that we live in a good way and we affect people in a good way and we raise our children in a more beautiful way. So
and in full transparency, that's what I want to be a stand for. So if you, the listeners, if the pace of this episode, if the way that it felt to create space for your own emotions felt nourishing, felt like something that you could use more of in your life, please reach out. An email, onepeacefulpapa@gmail.com is a great way to get connected with me directly. But again, we're building something here, something that feels spacious, that feels nourishing, healing, and ultimately so that we can be more aligned with our values and live from a more harmonious, peaceful place. That's what this is all about. So, Reuvain Bacal, thank you for your time.
Thank
really,
you.
really grateful.
It was great being here. Loved the conversation. Loved talking with you.
Yeah.
And also for people who might want to seek me out, you can.
Please.
We'll just leave a link to my website, and
Absolutely.
it's ReuvainBacal.com, and I'd love to talk with you.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Have a brilliant, blessed day.
Thanks.
Peace.
You too. Peace.
Yeah. You've been listening to the Peaceful Papa Podcast. May the wisdom you found here ripple into your being, your family, your community, and the world at large. I look forward to being with you again soon. See you on the next episode.